Good afternoon, Sean.
We're back. Good afternoon.
I know. What is it? January the 87th. Isn't this the longest month of the year? Jeez.
It is.
It goes on forever.
It feels that way, doesn't it? But we're back. I wonder if anybody missed us. Probably not. We'll find out afterwards.
Yeah, they probably missed the winners. What did you have last week, sorry?
Yeah, I had a 22-1 winner we would have had last week, but never mind.
Sorry we couldn't do a podcast.
Yeah, poor Ron.
Sean told me afterwards that Iberico Lord, you tipped it up somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, well, these things happen. There'll be another one later in the season. We've no doubt about that.
There'll be loads of them, yeah. Wait till we get to the flat. Can't wait for that one.
Well, yeah.
Some Tuesdays there. Yeah.
Surely Cheltenham first.
Oh, yeah.
And then Aintree.
We've got the trials meeting at the end of the month. And then we've got the big one itself. It's only a few weeks later.
Yep.
Loads of work to be doing. I can't wait. I'll be like a kid in a sweetie shop.
The one beauty of this job, if like me, I like the flat and I like National Hunt. Probably different reasons, but equally. There's very rarely a dull day. Well, there's always something going on.
There's always something happening, whether it's good or it's bad. There's always something happening. Like that, I sent you that message earlier on about the jockey that got pulled in Ireland and was asked to explain his riding of the fourth place horse, and he said, no comment.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, we better not get into that one for the sake of legal reasons, but you would have thought that the stewards would have gone, well, no.
No, that's not quite what we were after.
Not an acceptable answer, I'm afraid.
No, I thought that was brilliant.
What was brilliant is the way you've naturally, without even meaning to, brought us straight into our first subject, which is jockeys. Well done.
Jockeys. Yeah, Cobden. Yeah.
Go for
Harry
it.
Cobden, JP McManus, link up. Start in May, he's now the retained jockey.
Yep.
Now, do you know what? I sensed that something was going on over the Christmas period when Cobden went to ride a load of horses for Mullins in Ireland.
Yeah.
I never saw this coming, but I thought there's something going on here. And I think I sent you a message saying, or I meant to send you a message saying that I'll guarantee you Harry Cobden rides more horses for Mullins at Cheltenham than he does for Paul Nicholls.
Yep.
And now I think that's going to be plainly obvious that is what will happen.
Do you think Mark Walsh did?
I just think it's a case. Does any jockey ever deserve it? I mean, I was thinking about the time when Ruby Walsh told Paul Nicholls, "There's no more Calto Stars coming through. I'm back off to Willie Mullins' place." Now, I don't know who was stable jockey for Willie Mullins at the time, but he was always going to get jocked off by the likes of Ruby Walsh.
Yeah.
I've been a Harry Cobden fan for a good few years now. I don't think there's a better rider of a hurdler than Harry Cobden. He's absolutely brilliant on it. I reckon now you're going to see that he's probably not quite a Ruby Walsh, but he's going to be within spitting distance of that kind of level. I think he's that good.
I think he is.
When it was McCoy and Ruby Walsh, kind of, it was a bit like Blair and Oasis, wasn't it? Ruby Walsh and AP. I was always a Walsh fan basically because of his hands. You knew that when McCoy was on a horse, it was going to get a ride.
Yep.
It was going to get a ride. I've seen some horses McCoy's got up and thought, I'll never back that horse again because it won't forget that one. But Ruby Walsh, he's got the finesse, or he had the finesse. Harry Cobden's exactly the same. I think he's brilliant. Everybody's raving about Sean Bowen at the moment because he's riding loads of winners, because he's riding loads of horses. And he's riding good horses. You're going to see exactly the same when Harry Cobden goes over to Ireland, I guarantee it. I think he's absolutely brilliant. But there is something definitely going on at Ditcheat that we know nothing about. He lost 18 horses during the summer, and now he's lost his stable jockey.
Yeah.
I've noticed that. I read the other day that one of his had beaten one of the ones he'd lost.
Yes, I saw that before.
Like a child. He was more delighted about the fact that his horse had beaten that horse than he was just about winning the race. And I'm thinking, is that got something to do with what's going on somewhere?
I can see that though, and you'd be pleased to do a bit of one-upmanship. You know, you were wrong to take the horse out of my yard, basically.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can see that. I suppose I've written down it's like the akin to Real Madrid asking any footballer at any club on the planet, do you want to come play for us? They're not no. You've got to remember, we're only talking about retaining for JP. We're not talking about retaining for...
Yeah.
So I don't know how often we'll see him in Ireland. I mean, he might be asked to go over if there's some big races, etc. But you can see
they don't have as much racing as we do they?
No, so I think he's going to get a... There's no fallout with Paul Nicholls, that's for sure.
No, it's amicable.
He'll ride an awful lot of winners and horses for Nicholls over here. And then he'll get asked, or I guess politely told, I've got one in with a chance. And that'd be something interesting for us as punters to look out for, is when you see Harry Cobden appearing for one ride for JP in a 32 runner handicap that you and I couldn't solve in a million years. Suddenly goes over for the one ride and maybe picks up a couple of spares for other trainers.
Mm-hmm.
It may well be a good pointer to whether the money's down or the horse is fancied, I suppose. But I can see him spending most of his time in England.
Yeah.
You and I disagree. I think Paul Nicholls will get back to somewhere, not the top, somewhere near the top.
Well, the way I always look at it is class is permanent, form is temporary.
Yeah.
And the man is class.
Yeah.
What he does, he's class. And he will come back in some way. But whether or not he's going to get the horses that the likes of Harry Derham will get, and then Pauling will get, and people like that, the up-and-comings, Ollie Murphy, that type of trainer, I doubt it.
Okay.
Money will be spent with him now.
Question for you. Friday today is the lottery, Euro Millions. Yeah. And you or I win £30 million for want of a made-up figure, and decide we're going to buy a couple of decent horses to put in train over jumps because we got the money. Yeah. Would you, or would you not? Would you put him with Paul Nicholls? Would you object to would you be anti putting that horse with Paul Nicholls? Because I wouldn't. No, and he's got all the facilities. He's got all the staff. The staff he's got there are first class. I think, as a football fan, I'm an Everton fan for my sins, as you know full well.
Yeah, there's a difference between Everton and football, isn't there? Sorry, carry on.
A chasm sometimes, unfortunately. Yeah, but the 84-85 team was the equivalent of Paul Nicholls having Cato Starr and Denman in the yard, and the team we have now is the equivalent of not having any of them in the yard. But that's how it is. Everton Football Club haven't changed, and I'd like to think, other people probably wouldn't, I'd like to think we might get back to the top one day. Probably not in my lifetime, but these things can happen.
Leicester did it.
That's the same, but it's the same with Nicholls, isn't it? At the end of the day, he's got the facilities, which equates to the stadium. He's got the staff, which I suppose equates to fans, maybe. He hasn't got the players. He hasn't got, who do we have in there? Gary Lineker, for want of an argument, and that sort of thing. He hasn't got Kevin Sheedy. He hasn't got those players. No. So you can't expect him to go in and win the Premier League then, can you? But will he get them back again? We've all seen horses that cost comparatively pennies go on to become top-class horses, and we've seen horses that changed hands for millions, or in National Hunt cases, hundreds of thousands, who've turned out to be abject failures. So the fact that the big spending owners, I won't say they're leaving him, some are leaving him perhaps, doesn't mean you won't find one for £30,000 off the flat that goes on to place in a champion hurdle, for want of an argument. So personally, I like the guy, so I'm coming from a completely biased opinion. I don't dislike any else.
Honest, I've never met the man yet. No.
I've been, as you know, I do the stable tours in February. Hopefully I will be this year, depends whether I'm away or not. He's always good with the media. He's always honest with us. He's happy to answer questions. He's happy to chat. I won't name names, but I can't say that applies to every trainer out there. That's for sure. As you know, I won't have a bad word said against him. I think he's just
No, that's
not got the ammunition
enough.
at the moment. Give him the ammunition. He'll give you the winners. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Moving on, because we're all sort of moving to the future. What do we reckon on this? I put down late Christmas present for Nicky Henderson. A £40,000 flat race over a mile and a half for horses aged 4 and older. That's perfect prep race for Constitution Hill.
Well, the horse can't jump anymore, can it?
Carry on.
Well, that's my thinking. Although it was interesting to read the other day that he's being trained for the Champion Hurdle again. And there's no way, I don't think there's any way he won't run in the Champion Hurdle. But I'm hoping he does anyway, because I've taken 12 to 1 each way. I thought to myself, 12 to 1 about Constitution Hill for the hurdle race.
Yeah.
If it didn't have those little F's next to its name at the moment, it'd be more like 1 to 12 for the race in March, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
But, I mean, you've given me the Constitution Hill and Sir Gino very different path scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically started with one jumps like a buck and one has forgotten how to do it. I'm quite sure had Constitution Hill stock still got it, that Sir Gino would now be going over fences. No doubt about that. And he's now clear favourite to win the champion hurdle. Like I say, I've gone on, I've taken a little bit of the 12-1 about Constitution Hill because that is a silly price. And if they can work out his brain between now and March, what's going to beat him? The new Lion is 7-2 second favourite at the moment. Wouldn't see which way the horse went if he's back to his best and got his brain in gear.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a flat race being set up for him, did you say?
It's not set up for him, but it turns out there's going to be I think it's the joint richest flat race on the all-weather of the year, something along those lines.
Right. I've missed this. I've been so ill over the last 2 weeks.
Should have got your nurse
down doing what I do.
Get your nurse to sort it out for you. Yeah, it's £40,000 race, so the money's worth having. Mile and a half, which shouldn't be a problem. Horse is age 4 and older, so he's not going to give lumps of weight to the youngsters.
Yeah.
My only question mark with it, and Nicky's forgotten more than I'll ever know, is why you'd stick a horse on the flat when we all know hurdling is his issue.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought you and I were going to have a massive row about this one, which is disappointing that we're not, because I think he's massively overpriced for the champion hurdle. If he stands up,
he's hugely over. That's a ridiculous price.
I don't see. I cannot have Sir Gino with stolen money. I just can't see him. Can't see him winning it at all. He jumped like a chaser on his return.
Yeah. Well, he's been trained to chase, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think they might have enough schooling in him, and he'll get back to where he was over hurdles. He was no slouch over hurdles in the first place, so I shouldn't be putting him down. But having watched him on his return over hurdles, I just thought he's a chaser. He just doesn't. He's not fluent enough at the hurdles to compete with the best.
No.
My view.
I don't think the 2 mile hurdling division this year is that hot. I really don't. I mean, Golden Ace round about 14-1 at the minute, and that's one lucky horse. That very lucky horse. Nothing wrong with being lucky. The new Lion, as I say, 7-2. I don't see that as a champion hurdler at all.
Well, Golden Ace. The more I practice, the luckier I get. I don't know how often she can get lucky because she keeps business and everyone seems to ignore her, and then she goes and does the business again. I think I'd be amazed if Mullins doesn't send Lossiemouth to the champion hurdle because she's got every chance. State Man's out injured, if I can remember correctly.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's decimating. But talking about the two best hurdlers are probably State Man and Constitution Hill. State Man's out injured, Constitution Hill keeps falling over. So that's the main reason why it's so wide open, I guess. Yeah, I think Constitution Hill, if he stands up, he wins.
That's my feeling. 12-1.
Yeah.
When I looked at that, I thought, I can't believe that.
And really as I said that, I should say if he stands up and doesn't make too many mistakes, because if he makes a load of mistakes,
round, he wins.
Yeah, that'll do that. Yeah, I think he's got a great chance and he's overpriced. So, okay, we didn't have a massive amount of news to work with this week. So
not this week.
We've got two things to do. The breaking news about the Grand National, which I thought this must be very, very exciting, and I looked into it, and it's not very exciting at all.
Well, I suppose in the grand scheme of things, the only real difference is that it increases the number of reserves. Because there's 72 hours and a lot can happen in 72 hours between the Wednesday and the Saturday, they've increased the number of reserves from 4 to 6. Now, I put in my newsletter this morning that the day we start going down the reserves route the way the Irish do, I'm off. I'm out of this game. But it'll only apply to the odd race like the Grand National. Now, to be honest with you, I doubt very much it will increase the excitement, which is one of the quotes I've seen in the lead up to the race, because it'll still be the Saturday when your Auntie Jane's gone down the betting shop and queued up with everybody else that only has their bet once a year. They're not going to think, I can have a bet on Wednesday. They're just not going to do it. They'll wait till the Saturday morning, they go and queue up, have a little natter with their mates and have the bet and go home, and that'll be it. Now, I didn't know they did this for the Derby last year, 72-hour decks. Well, just went over my head. I didn't know that. It's the only race in National Hunt Racing that they'll do 72-hour decks for. But they're kind of enthused about the fact that they fall now into line with the Kentucky Derby and the Melbourne Cup. And I'm thinking, I didn't even know they were 72-hour decks. Yeah, exactly. All run over the same course. The fact is, it makes absolutely no difference to me whatsoever. I might be able to work on the race a little bit earlier, but I still won't have a bet till the Saturday. And
No, I mean,
that's me that bets for a living, No
yeah,
chance.
I might profile it a little, get profiling a little bit earlier because I can
Go a bit earlier. Yeah.
still go through the facts and then see which horses disappear from those facts.
Yeah.
I assume that the idea is to get it on the news. And when I say the news, I don't mean the racing channels and I don't mean at the races or whatever. I mean on the news that the declarations are out for the Grand National one day earlier might buy them a little bit of extra media time.
Might do. Yeah.
I guess that's one of the targets they're looking at.
Does the Grand National need media exposure? Really? I mean, it comes around and everybody knows the day it's going to be run. Weeks in advance, they've had their sweepstakes in the papers for over a week, and they've done their draws in work. They're all talking about it, and then the race happens and it's all forgotten. It'd be lovely to have those people come on board, wouldn't it?
It would be, but it's a potential banana skin as well. In that if we big up the race and get it even more media exposure, and God forbid, touch wood, etc., there are any fatalities.
Aye.
Then all of a sudden we're even more in the media spotlight than we were before. Yeah. So only time will tell whether it's a good move or a bad move, to be honest with you. As I said, it makes very little difference to me. I suppose if you're out of the country or you can't get your bet on a Saturday, you could theoretically pick one. And I guess if it's a 72-hour deck, I guess that the bookmakers become non-runner, no bet from the 72-hour deck stage. But then again, these days, most bookmakers are doing that. Like for Cheltenham, some of them are non-runner, no bet now.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Months away, so I don't think it'll make a huge amount of difference. Crowds are up. Racing full stop for 2025. Up by 5%, seems to ring a bell. Yeah. So racing's... It's on an upward curve, but is it on an upward curve from being in the doldrums is a separate question entirely.
I know, yeah. But I just looked at the crowds at Kempton on Boxing Day and Cheltenham on New Year's Day. The places were heaving. Even the off meetings, the crowds were there. Now, my philosophy has always been, if you put rubbish in front of people, they'll just walk around it. You give them quality racing like that, people will go and watch that racing.
Yeah.
I said to you a couple of days ago that I'd noted that 2 days ago, I think it was, that we had 3 meetings, 23 races, 15 of which were class 4 races. There was only one race where you couldn't have a bet 1, 2, 3 each way. And I'm thinking to myself, that's only happened because you've had so many meetings abandoned and cancelled.
Yeah.
In the run up to that particular day's racing. So don't have any racing for 2 days. Then give everybody a feast like they had the other day. And you'll get people going racing again. You really will.
It's a sort of catch-22, isn't it? And if you have a really big meeting where you know you're going to get a big crowd, then you've got more catering vans want to be there because you've got a big crowd. You've got the financial wherewithal to, I don't know, it's not for me, but put a funfair on in the middle or do a dressed race goer competition with a decent prize money to it.
Yeah.
All those sort of things go hand in hand. You can't do that if you've got 123 people at Wolverhampton on a Thursday night in the pouring rain.
123?
Did I say 123 when I meant 23? Sorry, yeah. Yeah. But you can't financially do that. So it does propagate itself by getting big crowds. The problem that racing needs to look at, and we've never discussed this, it's only just sprung to mind. If you did make racing, say, twice a week like it is in Ireland, what happens to the jockeys? Because where's their income coming from? Where's the guys?
Same with the horses as well, isn't it? Because you've only got a finite field size you can have at a lot of tracks.
Yeah.
I think it's 12 at Wolverhampton for the start, maybe 14. I don't know. But yeah, there would be a major cull of trainers, jockeys, horses, stable staff.
Yeah,
it's like when you go racing abroad.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you get. And it is top quality.
Yeah, but
you're not having to deal with Ludlow on a Wednesday in Hong Kong or something like that, where you've got a 5-runner class 5, horses that can't jump anyway. And something's going to win it, but what it is, I don't know. I call it fruit machine racing. It's like weather racing now. There was a 9-race card at Wolverhampton a couple of days ago that was put on because there was a national hunt meeting abandoned. And it was like 6 class 6 races, and there was a 5-horse race and a 7-horse race. And because even in that lower grade of racing, the horses aren't there to fill those field sizes. They can't race every 2 or 3 days. It's impossible.
It's a difficult one. I think if you started like that, like I haven't been going to Hong Kong for 50 years or however long they've been racing now. So I'm assuming that they started with a Wednesday and a Sunday, which is basically what they do now, sometimes Saturday, but basically a Wednesday, Sunday. So their eco structure is built around that. So they have a maximum amount of horses. You can't just get more horses in training. You have to get a license to get a horse in training.
Yeah.
So many trainers and only so many jockeys, and it works. But whatever political party you're from, you'd have a real sort of struggle going, we're going to do that with racing, so that means 100 jockeys have got no work, and 200 stable staff out of work, and 12 trainers have got to go, and 6 racecourses have got to close, along with all the catering companies, etc., etc. It would be political suicide.
It would, yeah. Nobody'd have the guts to do it.
We do need to cut meeting. I don't disagree there's too much racing. I don't think very many people can disagree there's too much racing. But I think you'd have to fine-tune it slowly and then see what happens after that. Now, I chucked one at you, which you would have... I'm assuming you went and looked it up afterwards, because you wouldn't have had the damn clue what I was talking about.
The Laffer Curve.
The International Federation. It's called, the Laffer Curve, and you're not laughing now, are you?
No.
This was something that I got sent on an email from the International Federation of Horse Racing Authorities, Council on Anti-Illegal Betting and Related Crime. Now that's a mouthful, isn't it? Right, I'll put written down here in brief so that I can understand it, let alone anybody else. They've put together a graph, or some independent companies put together a graph, I should say, that looks at where the perfect rate is for gambling tax, if there is such a thing. So the idea is if you tax too highly, people disappear, either to the black market or full stop. So your income from that tax might be a higher percentage, but in pound notes, let's say pound notes, £5 notes, no pound notes, in pound coins, it doesn't sound the same, does it really? In pound coins, you lose income. Yeah. Now,
and that is known as the Laffer Curve.
It is. Now, we might have got away with it because when they did this modelling on it, they assumed, rightly or wrongly, that we were going to get hit with 50% gambling tax at the budget, and it actually went to 40. And with horse racing sticking at 15, I'm delighted to say.
Yeah.
But they did the graph on that, and I'm not bothering to spout out loads of figures, mainly because I didn't write them down. But basically, if you had it at 50% tax, the income to the government would have been much lower. Much lower. It was way off the correct place to be on that.
They probably knew these figures themselves, which is why they didn't clobber racing.
You think that, but then we are talking about the current government and their knowledge of figures is probably wouldn't pass an exam at a 5-year-old kindergarten, but never mind. No. That's my personal views. Yeah, if you tax too highly, what people forget is you tax the bookmakers and you don't appear to tax the punter, because you and I don't pay tax on our bets.
No.
But that 9-4 shot is now a 2-1 shot.
Yeah. So we're paying it.
We're paying it, but we can't see it. And 7-4, 6-4, and so on all the way across the board. And then your bonuses disappear, and your best odds guarantee disappear, and your odds boosts and all sorts of other things that they get up to all disappear. So you can't see it, but that tax does disappear. So long story short, from my point of view, I'm glad it only went at 40%. I'm wary what that's going to mean, and that's on casinos and slots. But do not be naive enough to think that some of that pain will not be passed on to horse racing, because it will. Be that reduced sponsorship or worse odds or whatever, as discussed. Black markets are sitting there with the tax going up, going, thank you very much, can't wait to have another chunk of that.
Thank you very much.
Until you have a big win and try getting paid out, of course, because you have no protection whatsoever. So I hope, basically, from that bookmakers who do have a carte blanche to do whatever they like, really, once that tax goes on them, they then pass it on in whatever way. That the government looks at these Laffer curves. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. Who knows? But looks at it and goes, this is not a cash cow. It doesn't work. You can't put another % on next year. It will not give us another % in money. It will potentially give us a loss in money. That's the only reason I wanted to mention it. Over to you. I don't know if you read into it and came up with any conclusions.
I had a little look at it. And the way I look at taxation is if somebody tells me they're going to take a bit more out of my pocket, I stop spending.
Yeah.
I don't spend as much. I look at where the pennies are going to go. It's like I might buy a cup of coffee at one of the coffee shops on the way to work or something like that, and I'll not buy that coffee. So they'll suffer, there's such a knock-on effect. I would hate to be a Chancellor of the Exchequer for whatever party you support, because they are on a hiding to nothing. If they tax A, B's going to be made up. If they tax B, A's going to be made up. You cannot please everybody. But public services have to be paid for.
Yeah.
And until they work out a way of getting back the income that we've lost because of our exit from the EU, be it with trade deals with other countries and all the rest of it, then until all that happens, they're going to have to they're targeting us, the people, to make the shortfall up. And nobody's going to be happy for a good few years yet, I don't reckon. I think it was Rees-Mogg who said, well, in 50 years, we will be fine. Well, I'll be dust. I don't know about yourself.
I'm not planning on it, but it's highly likely. But slightly comedy for you, mentioning Rees-Mogg, everyone go on Google and look up Rees-Mogg's children's names. If that doesn't give you a laugh, nothing in this world will.
Yeah, what did they call him? The Right Honourable Member for the 14th Century or something?
Just look it up. I'm not going to bother doing it. We're a racing. I won't do that. But look it up, ladies and gentlemen. It'll give you a good laugh, if nothing else.
Yeah, it will be. It is a good laugh, yeah.
Talking of a good laugh, time to move on to my tips and yours. Mine are the ones for a good laugh. Ron's, of course, are more carefully calculated. So, did you want to start with Ascot, or did you want to mention something about the website and Cheltenham and things like that first?
Well, yeah, I mean, at the moment, I am really going to town on the itscheltenham.com website. I actually mentioned in a newsletter the other day that when I'm 75, which is 6 years away, I intend cutting right back on what I'm doing now, and itscheltenham.com will be my focus. And what you'll have there is the bee's knees of Cheltenham websites. There'll be nothing like it out there. I'm hoping you come along for the ride and join me in that. But yeah, Cheltenham. It's a lot of people get annoyed when people start talking about Cheltenham in August, September, October, November. I start talking about it the day after the last one's finished, because I'm looking for next year's winners. I'm looking for the horse called The One that pays all the bills and everything for the next year. I mean, we still sit on Galvin out in the back garden. For those who don't know what I'm referring to, I look for a horse that's trading a nice double-figure price months and months before the race itself. And in November, the year Galvin won in the March, I told everybody to get on it around about 12-1, I think it was. Now, the boots were well and truly filled by a lot of people. And if you go onto the itscheltenham.com website, you can have a look. I've got a little section in the menu called The One. Click on that, it'll open up, and you can see the list of horses that have been put up since around about 2013. We're over 40 points up. Just backing that one horse every year. We've had something like 6 winners, 5 non-runners, 2 unplaced. We've cleaned up I remember the Druid's nephew. One of the very first ones I put up. Neil Mulholland, I think it was trained that one. We put it up at 14, 16-1, 14-1 or something like that. They got Barry Geraghty to come over and ride it. Absolutely hosed up. You should have seen my inbox. Grown men asking to marry me, have my babies. It was phenomenal. And I thought, well, we can have some fun with this. You know, you're not going to get it right every year. It's impossible. But we'll give it a damn good shot. And I'll have The One after the festival trials meeting.
All right.
So it's something worth considering. To be a member of itscheltenham.com, it's only £52 a year. You pay your fee every year. You get full profiling for October, November, December, January, the trials meeting, and then the profiling for Cheltenham itself. Plus, in addition to that, if you'd like stats, it is the stat monster of racing. It will slowly evolve. I mean, you've got the history of each race. You've got the stats for every single race. The results of previous years, trainer jockey stats, the whole lot. The weights they carried, the SPs they returned, the lot is on this website. Wait till you see the Cheltenham profiling section. Stunning it'll be. Absolutely stunning. £52 a year, gold dust.
£1 a week to us Southerners. Pound note, as I said earlier, maybe £1.
Yeah. No, seriously, if you love your Cheltenham, you'll make you £52 a year, that's for sure. No two ways about that.
The other thing is, as well as making a profit, is obviously the main target. I was going to say, but you can really get into the meeting by if you're an old codger like me and Ron. Then even if you've only been watching racing for 3 or 4 years, you can remind yourself of past winners and ones ones that got away that you should have backed. Things like that. It's all part of getting into the groove. Probably the wrong phrase.
Well,
getting into the right mentality. All for the, quite frankly, the biggest race meeting of the year anywhere on the planet.
It is anywhere on the planet. It's phenomenal. And even though I think this year you're going to see a bit of a shift back to the UK trainers. I don't think Willie Mullins is as strong this year as he has been. And I think that there are some good horses over here now that are going to come and give him a really good run for his money. No two ways about it. Skelton's building up. Brent Pauling's got some good horses on his hands now. It's going to be a great meeting. I can't wait. Really can't wait.
It's
my busiest week of the year.
Yeah.
But, it's 18-hour days right the way through that week. Don't care. Bring it on.
And as a very brief reminder, so we don't bore everyone to tears, for those who aren't only interested in Cheltenham, you do some other stuff, don't you?
Do I? Yeah, 7 days a week, 5 in the morning till when I go to bed. I just work flat out on horse racing. It's more than a passion. Two people emailed me last week saying, you're doing a bit too much, you really should cut back on what you do. And I pointed out in a newsletter a couple of days that I've been doing this now about 22 years and I've never worked a day in my life. Never worked a day in my life. It is fantastic. I love it. It's great.
And we need to also point out that he's rubbish. He's very good at horses, but he's rubbish at marketing. Because what he hasn't said is that you have to go postracing.com, Ron. You have to mention the website.
.uk, get over there. If you click on the subscribe link, there's a load of options. If you're only interested in the weekend, great. We've got a weekend package for you. If you're only interested in the specials, which is Cheltenham, Aintree, Royal Ascot, Glorious Goodwood and the York Ebor meeting, just go for that. I've had a few people come in touch with me and saying, when's the 500 Club starting? You were there in 2013 when everything was flying and we went to Wolverhampton and Rosie's Lady won 2 races in a week and all the rest of it. I want to get back to that. But it's like I've said in a recent newsletter again, I can only do that now basically if we've got a minimum of 250 people paying an annual subscription fee, because what I find is, and what I have found always is, that if people are on a monthly subscription package, when they go on holiday, they'll cancel their subscription fee. And then they'll come back again when they come back off their holiday. Now, I can't work like that with something like the 500 Club if we've got horses in training. It's impossible because I've got to budget. I'll have a budget in September, and that's got to see me through then until the following September, when we'll have either had a great year, a good year, an indifferent year, or a bad year. But that's racing anyway. And then next year, people will have seen enough to say, I'll renew those subs next year. Great stuff, that was. Brilliant. And we go again. Now, we've got probably the best racing silks in the country stuck in my wardrobe at the moment. They're the old Clover Club silks that we had made up when COVID struck and knocked us right off kilter. Now, they've been at the wardrobe once. They were ridden by Joe, who got on his old nag and he's modelled the silks for us, and they look stunning. You can forget the nag. He looks stunning in those silks. For your information, they are white with 3 clovers on the sleeves and a clover on the hat. And I want those silks on the racetrack this year. And we have silks on the racetrack this year.
Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I was there with Rosie's Lady. It doesn't get any better. You can have £20 on a 20 to 1 shot and pick up £400. Fantastic. No one's knocking that at all. Have a tenner on a 10 to 1 shot, but you own a bit of it. Oh, that's different gravy. I can assure you, different gravy.
Rosie's Lady was the very first horse that ran in our silks as an owned horse. And we went with David O'Mara to Wolverhampton on New Year's Day. Now, I'd been at a black tie do the night before. And I won't tell you what state we were actually in, but we got to bed about 3 and we're up at 6 to get to Wolverhampton. And this was for an evening meeting. And we were in the very last race on the race card. But behind me were over 100 people who were involved in Rosie's Lady, members of the 500 Club. And you should have heard the noise we made that day when that horse went past the post in first. I've got a picture on the floor here of the horse going past the winning post. I'm going to put that on the wall behind me. And next time we do this, you'll see Rosie's Lady on that wall. Feeling everybody got that day. I've never experienced anything like it.
Fabulous, isn't it?
I think on that day, we were then above Godolphin in the owners' ranks. Wear that badge with pride, I say.
Easy, that's easy. Right, before they fall asleep, or
better do some racing,
or 7th beer, or whatever it may be. As you may have noticed,
we're not over marketing.
Yeah, Ron and I can talk racing forever, but you haven't got forever. So we're going to move on to Ascot this weekend, starting with the 25. And let's hear what Ron thinks first, because he's far cleverer than I am. Off you go.
I won't go that far. No, well, maybe. Well, it could be a good little race, this, because I'm looking forward to seeing Novelista running. It had a decent racing on the flat when it was with Charlie Johnson, I think it was. Around about 84, he was rated on the flat.
Yeah.
Won, placed in 6 of his 11 races. My problem with him would be that this is over 1 mile, 7 furlongs and bits. Call it 2 miles if you want.
Yeah.
But he was running over 2 mile 2 on the flat, which means he's not a quick horse. And that might find him out at this track on the ground that he's going to get tomorrow. I think he probably wants softer ground and probably 3 miles over hurdles. Profiling a race like this is quite easy, though, because we basically just want a 4-year-old, which you can't have anything else, carrying more than 11 stone and trading favourite. That would have nailed 5 of the last 7 winners. My selection, therefore, has got to be Winston Jr. Recently ran 2nd at Cheltenham, beating a horse that was previously unbeaten and had previously won a Grade 2. That was at the November meeting at the Cheltenham track. He's ridden by JP's new retained jockey tomorrow, as he was on that occasion. And he sticks out like a sore thumb for me, really. I mean, he was rated £5 better on the flat than Novelista. He's got the form in the book. He was trained by Jessica Harrington when he was on the flat. My only question mark about the horse would be that he has run home 2nd in 5 of his 10 starts so far. I've never liked horses that like to see the backside of one of them at least in front of them. I've still got to go for him though, because he fits all the trends. Winston Jr. will win that race.
I hope you're right. I like sitting here when Ron actually agrees with me. He doesn't know. I haven't told him anything yet. We don't do that. Yeah, Brave Guest has also finished 2nd on both starts. Interesting as well. As you say, Winston Jr., son of Churchill, sent off at the head of the market for his Fontwell debut. So they clearly thought something of him before he was beat. Stepped up in class last time, as you say, to a decent race at Cheltenham. He pulled way too hard as well to actually see the race through. Got beaten over 6 lengths by Miller Study. He got crowded out as well at a crucial stage of the race. That didn't help him. So he did pretty well to get where he was. Yeah. He's clearly the form horse. Yeah, I agree with what Ron's saying about horses that keep finishing 2nd. You have to worry if they got the wherewithal and the bottle, I suppose, to get through. Keep an eye out as well for Talacan, French recruit. Won his last start at Amiens. I just want the chance to say that. For Francis Henri Graffard, by about 6 lengths, I think, on the flat. He's making his hurdling debut. Has got a little bit to find with the ex-Charlie Johnson one you were talking about. But he looks like he could take to hurdles. He looks like he could have a decent career in front of him. He'd be the one I'd be... If you're looking at a bigger price one for an each-way alternative, then Talacan would be interesting. Winston Jr. It's one of those days where I'm suspecting before we even start that we're struggling to find too many that aren't at the head of the betting, because those are the races we've picked. The why we picked these races, by the way, Ron's post-racing site does a fabulous profiling, and he does his ratings on the handicaps. So generally speaking, with one exception that I throw in just to annoy him, we try to avoid the handicaps and look for the non-handicap races for the podcast, YouTube, whatever you want to call it. Therefore, we're limited for choice, aren't we? We are. Just making my excuses now. And we move on to Haydock, the 125. I wonder who we think wins this.
Well, there's only 6 going to post, but you might get a Cheltenham clue here. I was really taken with Old Park Star when he won last time at Cheltenham. Bolted up, didn't he? He's currently 7-1. Just 7-1 already for the Supreme Novices at the festival. And he's going to be around about 4-6 to win this race tomorrow. Now, Paul Nicholls lost this horse to Nicky Henderson in the summer. And if his reaction to beating one that he lost recently is anything to go by, he's probably already made a voodoo doll of this horse. It's stuck with pins all over the place. Henderson, he's won 3 of the last 6 runnings of this race, and he won it with John Bond in 2022. So he obviously aims a good horse at it. The winner has actually been front 2 on the tissue in 7 of the last 9 runnings of this. So for sure, one of Old Park Star or Hurricane Pat will be winning the race tomorrow. But I doubt that makes me Einstein, because it's around about 10 to 1 by the pair at the moment. Hurricane Pat's rated £6 inferior to him. Got to give him £2. Park Star should absolutely bolt up.
And rinse and repeat. 12 early entries down to 6. Unfortunately, there were 12 early.
That's the way it is.
Short price favourite, Old Park Star, but I feel my hands are tied. I can't see how I can go anywhere else. The one thing I did notice was Nicky Henderson said that he was pleasantly surprised by how easily he won last time out. Now that says to me that they haven't got to the bottom of him yet, because there's more to come. He strolled home by 12 lengths at Cheltenham, hard held. He's got to give some weight away to some of them, but as you say, I suspect he's got bigger fish to fry than this, and he's going to be heading to the vessel. Hurricane Pat, as you say, main market rival. He's tough to ignore. Keep an eye out for Nicky Richards Japetus, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which I'm probably not. He's improving with every start. He's a double figure price. If you don't like betting odds on, you could do a lot worse than considering for maybe he'll get second or chase the favourite home. I don't think he's good enough to win, but I think he might be closer in the shake-up than the betting implies.
Yeah. His
rating suggests he's got plenty to find, but they're all lightly raced here and they're all improving.
They're all novices, aren't they? They're all open to plenty of improvement.
So taking a mark that the handicapper's given him is not necessarily a fair reflection of how good he is or how good he could be. No. So I think Japetus could go well, but I'm with Old Park Star, sad and boring as that may be. I bet we differ on this one, or I'll be surprised if we don't differ on this one. The 140 at Ascot is next on the little list.
Yeah, we've got 5 going to post here, another small field, but so I'll not be long on this one. There have been 7 previous runnings of this. In 2024, it was run at Doncaster. They didn't run the race in 2023. But Dan Skelton has absolutely dominated. He's won 3 of the last 4 renewals of the race. Now, he's got Nurse Susan in the field tomorrow, currently around about the 15 to 8, 2 to 1 joint favourite with La Conquière. 3 of the last 5 winners of this have been age 9. All have gone off at 5 to 2 or shorter. And Sister Susan, Harry Skelton, is the only 9-year-old in the field.
Yep.
Not got a lot to go on because there's limited evidence for me to work with. There's quite a lot in her favour, despite there not being a lot to go on. And I've got to post her up as my podcast selection. It has to be Sister Susan.
Nurse Susan, I'm afraid, sorry to disappoint you. Nurse Susan, for those looking for the name. Sorry.
See Sorry. What I mean? I'm not well.
I think it's an interesting race. The thing I can't quite work out, because the betting's changed since I started writing this, you've got La Conquière's now trading 13 to 8, clear favourite. Nurse Susan's out to 3 to 1.
Really?
Yeah, and yet on official ratings, I know you shouldn't just go with official ratings. They're not cast in stone. However, you would like to think, as I said before, that's run by a group of professional handicappers with the British Horse Racing Authority, that they would have more tools and more time and more effort and more strings to their bow than I've got.
Yeah.
La Conquière is rated 128 and gets £2 from Nurse Susan, who's rated 140. Why on earth is La Conquière favourite when rated that far in? Weighted 10
no idea.
In fairness, somebody knows something that we don't.
So that horse has drifted in the last hour and a half.
Yeah, I don't know why. No comment. I'm not with either of them anyway, so I don't care.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going with Nicky Henderson's Joyeuse.
Ah, right. Yeah, no, he's got a half decent record here. Yeah.
Yep, Henderson's got a good record in the race. Yeah, she's lightly raced. She seems to be around ages, that Joyeuse, but she's not. She's only had 7 races and 2 victories over hurdles. Her yard were far from their peak when she finished 9th over course and distance in December. She'd only got £2 to find with Nurse Susan according to the handicapper, which isn't much. She's been backed as well. She's into 7 to 2. Was 9 to 2 when I started writing that. That's quite interesting, actually. I wouldn't want this to appear to be an anti-bookmaker type of podcast. But if you look at that field, the 5 there from the original 5 from 5 betting places, 9 to 4 to 13 to 8 La Conquière, so that's shortened. Earth Susan's moved from 2s to 3s. That's a slight move outwards. Shoyer's 9 to 2 to 7 to 2. Sunset Marquesa 13 to 2 to 11 to 2. And Ubeti 18 to 1 to 12 to 1.
Yeah.
Go figure. Looks like they, with the exception of Nurse Susan, they've shortened every single horse. It's only 5 numbers. I wasn't going to go each way anyway, so I'm not too bothered by the price being 7 to 2 now instead of 4 to 1. But I think Joyeuse could surprise. If I'm honest, I'm also trying to look for something that isn't an odds-on or short price favourite on a very tricky day.
Yeah. Well, it's handicap heavy tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think I could. I've only rated 6 races. I could have rated about 10 or 11. I'm not going to. I'll be here all day. But just to say, we've already got the 6 races up on the website for tomorrow. If anybody's interested.
Well, I am. I'll go and have a look as soon as I put the phone down. On to the one that Ron never likes me throwing these in because he can only profile this because he's got his ratings. It's a handicap, but it's the Peter Marsh chase at Haydock. How can I not? How can I not put this onto the list? 2 o'clock Haydock. Over to you. And I've profiled this as well, so I'm waiting to see whether we differ or don't. Over to you, Ron.
Lamb's come out, so we've only got 6 runners left.
Are we? Oh dear.
And that includes the winner of this race in 2021, 2022. Will Pagay. But he won't have his ground tomorrow. Nothing like it. I mean, he needs it hock deep. And he's already 0 from 9 on good to soft ground, which is the forecast going as we were doing this. He's now also an 11-year-old, and it's a long time since any horse older than 10 won this. I think, according to Pete, was the last 11-year-old to win it back in 2012. I'm looking for an 8-year-old trading front 3 on the tissue that finished in the first 3 last time it raced. Those stats look solid to me based on the fact that 4 of the last 10 winners were aged 8, 6 of the last 7 winners were front 3 on the tissue, and 11 of the last 15 winners had either won or placed first 3 before they went to Haydock. There's only one qualifier. Confusion? He'd be my trend selection. And he's my podcast pick. But I should see, I've seen plenty of money for Johnny Who. 6 to 1 into 7 to 2. And the favourite Maya Town, who's fallen twice in his last 3 runs, is 100 to 30 into 2 to 1 favourite. Dutching is how I roll. I look at a race and I'm thinking, which 3 or 4 horses, which one of those 3 or 4 horses is going to win a race and make me a profit? So I've Dutched the 3 already, because that's how I roll, as I say. But Confusion gets the tick here. It will be Confusion if he doesn't win. Oh,
very good, very good. He's a comedian, really. Yeah, I don't think I'm very different. I've looked at the last 15 years, which is only 12 runnings. It's been abandoned 3 times.
Yeah.
Look for the facts about the winners, see if it told me anything. Nothing bigger than 20 to 1. 11 of them were 16 to 1 or shorter. All completed on their last start. Nothing that fell last time out or pulled up or unseated has come here and won it in the last 15 years. All came home in the first 8, with 9 coming home in the first 4. Age group, I didn't learn a lot from over 15 years, to be honest.
No, you don't.
All were officially rated 135 or higher. Nothing rated above 156, which takes Royal Pagale out of the equation. These are stats. These are not facts, obviously, but that's how it is. None had raced in the last 15 days. All had raced in the last 90 days. 11 winners racing in the last 60. This is dull, isn't it? None had raced more than 4 times in the current season. Put those together, and I come up with a short list of Johnny Who and, you guessed it, Confusion.
Confusion.
Now, look at Confusion. Sue Smith knows exactly what's needed. She's won this 3 times. Yeah. And she's had another 3 places from owning 9 horses. So she clearly knows the exact sort needed. She's now in partnership with Joel Parkinson, of course, in case anyone's confused by me just saying Sue Smith. An 8-year-old, which is pretty prime age for chasers as far as I'm concerned. Arrives in great form winning 3 of his first 4 starts here, despite he did unseat at the 11th over course and distance in November last year. Slight concern there. But he seems to be improving experience. I like horses that make all over jumps because you don't get caught up in that confusion, kerfuffle if something in behind. Makes all, won the Roland Merrick last time out at Wetherby by 7 lengths. That's a decent race. There's never an argument about that. He has been put up £9. That is my only alarm bell question mark. He's been put up £9 for that, and this is a handicap. But he fits the stats. He arrives in form. His stable know what's needed. He's ticking more boxes than he's not, as far as I'm So much as we did not do this as a double act, and I might sort of stayed at home at this rate, other than the last race I suppose with Joyeuse, I've gone for confusion, and so's Ron. And that leaves us with one more race to go before we move on to demystifying as we do.
Yeah.
Ascot 3:30. Oh, another exciting, difficult to guess which we're going for race. Yeah.
Yeah, there's only 4 races in here tomorrow, and Mullins has sent his superstar, Hill and Sir Gino, over to trouser the near £100,000 first prize.
Nice.
Which he will do. It's a race he dominated between 2016 and 2018. He won it those 3 years in succession with Under So. He takes on John Bond for the second time this season, and he beat him very easily in December. It's hard to make a case for last year's winner reversing the form. John Bond won this race last year. He's now a 10-year-old. Only 2 of that age have won this in the last 20 years, one of those being Under So. They should finish 1-2 again because the other 2 in the race need to improve by a stone or more to dead heat with the Mullins horse. And that ain't happening. Hill and Sir Gino comes over, wins the race. Mullins says, thank you very much, another £100,000 in the bank. See you later. Hill and Sir Gino.
Yeah, what Ron said.
Yeah, what can you do?
What can you say? John Bond's got Harry Cobden on for the first time. That's the only interesting thing. As a big Cobden fan, you'll be interested to see how he gets on with him. He's got to get so much improvement out of him, unfortunately. I mean, he's been a fantastic servant. He's very rarely far away, John Bond. I love it. I love him.
Never been out of the first 2 over fences.
Yeah, and if I back Hill and Sir Gino and John Bond goes and wins it, I'll still be cheering him on because
yeah.
And that's part of the thing with these horses is that you fall in love with them. Is that the right phrase? I don't know. Just get an affinity. Maybe an affinity to them sounds slightly.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go with an affinity.
They're slightly less arrestable. Yeah, Thistle Asker's won his last 5 over fences. He deserves a shot at this standard. See how good he is. Might as well test him out. But I said the same as you. If Hill and Sir Gino puts in a clear round, he's the likeliest winner by a mile, isn't he? As you say, he's 9 lengths ahead of John Bond in the Tingle Creek at Sandown. Form's there for everyone to see. There's no reason for that to be reversed that we know of. So clear round equals Hill and Sir Gino, that I can't even pronounce properly, wins the 3:30 at Ascot.
You should do.
I feel I need to apologise for the short prices. For those who've listened in the past and those who will listen or watch in the future, that's not always the way it goes.
No, it's not by any
big price winners, and personally I've had loads and loads of big price horses that finished out with the washing. But that's the way it goes. But we don't go looking. Let's see if we can give them a favourite.
It's not that long ago I put a 14-1 shot up on here and it won about 15-8 favourites.
Exactly. That's the thing. We don't go. I don't even look at the odds, to be honest with you. I suppose I do if I'm profiling. First 6 nothing bigger than 20-1. If I'm going through the form book, if Hill and Sir Gino had been a 10-1 shot there, it would not have changed my decision whatsoever.
No, not at all. No.
You go through the form and it turns out, oh dear, bit of a short price, but a short price winner is better than a long price stone cold last. So hopefully we got that right. Now, did you want to do any OMS or anything, or should we go straight to demystifying?
We'll demystify.
We'll demystify. This is a bit, for anyone who's new, where we try to explain some of racing's obscure and weird terminology and things that go on that anyone new to the game might not understand. I've gone for something simple because I've had a few days holiday, so I wanted something simple.
Yeah.
Fractions versus decimals.
It's simple.
On your thoughts on this one? Yeah.
It's dead simple. If you go into a betting shop and you're looking at the screen, you'll see 2-1, 3-1, 7-2, 100-30, 9-4, 11-2. They are your fractional odds. So you know that if you put £1 on that 2-1 favourite, if it wins, the bookmaker's going to give you £3 back. Because he's bet you £2 to your £1. That you're wrong. You're right, you get £3, you get his 2 and you won back. You're £2 up. Now, if you're working on the exchanges and you're working to decimal odds, then what you would see for that horse that you'd bet at 2-1 in the betting shop is 3. Because the decimal odds include your stake. So if you put £1 on 3, that is how much you get back if the horse wins. It's the £2 that your opponent on Betfair has bet you that you are wrong. Now, I can't put it any simpler than that. That is, for me, how fractions and decimals work. Whether I've demystified it or not is another matter. But it all depends on your £1. If you're looking at 9 to 4, you'll see different odds on. You'll see the decimal odds on Betfair. So if it's 9 to 4 in the bookmaker's shop, it's 3.25 on the Betfair screen. And if that horse wins, you get your £3.25. You get your £3.25. It's just how the exchanges work in relation to how the on-street bookmakers work. Have I demystified that, or have I now got people going, what was he talking about?
I'll take it on. Basically, I put this down as an old age thing.
Yeah.
Racing's always been done in fractions. 7 to 4 the field, 100 to 30 the favourite, all this sort of thing. Now, those of us who did lots of fractions at school or have been working in racing for years don't really care. It's nice and simple and we understand. So for those who've forgotten fractions, 7 to 4 is basically 7 over 4. So that's 1 and 3. 1 and 3/4. So 1 and 3. What Ron said there, 1 and 3/4 to 1. So you get 1 and 3/4 times your stake plus your stake back. That applies to me. 11 to 4 is 11 divided by 4. So 2 and 3/4 to 1. 100 to 30, 100 divided by 30, 3.33 to 1.
It is just very simple maths.
But what we will add in is on a lot of bookmaker websites now, you can click somewhere, because they're all different, and change it from decimals to fractions or vice versa. So if you're an old git like me and Ron, then you can leave it as fractions. If you're under the age of about 60, I don't know, I'm making that out to be polite to people, then you can click on decimal and you can have that option as well. It's not difficult. I think it's part of the history, part of the pageantry even of racing is having the mystery is these fractions. We have fractions and no one in the world has fractions. What's going on? But then I remember my parents saying how ridiculous it was when they brought in this strange thing called
decimalisation.
Why would you want 100 pennies in a pound? What a ridiculous scenario that was. When it was so much easier when, and correct me if I'm wrong, 12 pennies to a shilling and 20 shillings to a pound. They saw that as making a lot more sense. Now look at it now, and it's laughable. Sorry, it's laughable because it's not. It's so much easier with 100 pennies to the pound, 100 cents to the euro, and so on, 100 cents to the dollar. It just makes perfectly good sense. Do not be frightened of fractions. It's just a simple piece of maths. But those who don't like them, just click on the top or go to Betfair.
You can always change it.
Should get shares in Betfair the amount of times we keep mentioning. But go to that, change it, and then you'll see the fractions. And the fractions will tell you exactly what you get back. That's the one advantage with the fractions. 3.25, you understand you put a pound on, you get £3.25 back. 9 to 4, you've got to do the 9 to 4 bit and then add your pound in afterwards and so on. So it's a little bit more complicated. It's not difficult. There are, I suspect, a zillion websites out there where you can put transfer fractions to decimals and it'll do it for you in a heartbeat. But if not, they're on most of the bookmaker websites. It's not a confusing thing. If you're new to racing, do not let the idea, though even I'm confused by the new one that only turned up a few years ago, 85 to 40.
You got 16 to 5 now.
Yeah, but I don't remember seeing either of those in, I was going to say in my youth, but they only invented racing back in my youth. But, all those years ago. So they're new. They come. Please don't be put off racing by being confused by that sort of fraction. Just click on decimals and away you go. Or better still,
just email me and say, Ron, I had a pound on that horse at 9 to 4. How much have I got coming back? I'll tell you.
Yeah. Or you could do it the other way around. You could email Ron and say, Ron, I on a horse that Sean tipped. How much do I get back? And you just write back nothing without even bothering to look at it.
There'll be a bin somewhere.
Exactly. Hopefully not everybody, but that's who knows. Who knows? Right. So according to me, unless Ron says otherwise, we're left without something for the weekend. So.
Yeah, I've got to go for confusion.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I think that's.
I do like that one. I know I've said I've Dutched the race and all the rest of it, but he really does fit.
Yeah.
And you put up a pretty good case for the horse as well.
Yeah, I'm not knocking. I just thought I'm going to go for Winston Jr. in the 12.25.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's got the form plus the experience.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, with so many odds on, it wasn't an easy day to pick something for the weekend out of because you can't pick that one. It's odds on. You can't pick that one. That's a bit too.
I could have gone safe and said Ilete Tomps.
Well, it could have done Ilete Tomps with Old Park Star, perhaps in a double. Would have probably paid about the same.
It would buy you a burger.
Exactly. Well, yeah, it's a very small. Right.
Small, yeah.
Anything else we need to add? I'm conscious of not running too far over time.
No, I think we've done just over an hour today, and my lungs are about to come up.
Yeah.
So I think we'll knock it on the head there. I'll get this edited, posted up, and then everybody can back a few winners tomorrow.
I'll just add one more thing. I read on Facebook today that if you do that, people think you're drinking a hot cup of tea.
Yeah.
It's full of wine. Don't tell anyone. But not really, but it could have been. You never know. There you go.
On the dark side. Yeah.
That's gin, that is. Right, okay. Have a good weekend, everybody. Hopefully we pumped a few winners your way. I'm not sure. I suspect we'll be back in a couple of weeks because it's Cheltenham Trials next weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, coming towards the end of the month, isn't it? Yeah.
I think it might be. We'll double check. We will be back. It was Christmas / New Year /
Yeah.
Ron's got man flu.
Yeah.
That postponed it all for a little while, so we'll be back.
Yeah.
Back in the next week or two.
My plan, by the way, is to do one every morning once I've got rid of this cough. Every morning, called the morning report, and I'll put up the name of one horse for the day.
Well, why not? And if I fancy something strongly, I might even join him now and again if he lets me.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, lovely.
All right. In that case, have a good weekend. It's getting dark here now. Have a good weekend, everybody. Enjoy your racing if you get to go. Lucky you.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll give you some winners and a profit on the day, and we'll be back very soon.
Yeah. Take care.
Take care now. Bye-bye.